Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we will start today with our meditation and contemplation session as usual. So this meditation session today, we will begin we will start with learning, or just as we have done in the past, we will take a sankalpa. But let us take a brief moment to review the process of making a sankalpa. So we start with considering some kind of a challenge or a weakness that we want to overcome spiritually, which stops us, or even in making some kind of progress in life. So the only difference in taking a sankalpa than any normal resolution is the process of spiritualizing it, the process of purifying that intention and invoking higher divine energies and blessings to help us overcome that. So we can briefly review that challenge or weakness that we want to overcome. Generally, it's of the nature of some kind of delusion, laziness, unwillingness to practice or to study or to contemplate, unwillingness to change ourselves. Or it could be something related to our strong desire, our craving, our worldly pursuits, or some kind of aversion, some kind of resentment, some kind of negativity, some kind of unprocessed emotions which taint our mind, our vision, our perspective, and we are not receptive to teachers and teachings. So these three, raga, dvesha, and moha, are generally the problem. And predominantly, some of us are more prone to one or the other. So we can just consider that what is the most strongest obstacle for us on our path. And then we try to invoke the divine energies in the sense that we realize that this overcoming this obstacle or the sankalpa requires something more higher. So we invoke trust in a higher force such as God, gurus, nature, whatever is our faith in some higher reality that helps us to overcome our own challenges. Otherwise, we remain limited, we remain constrained, feeling that we can never overcome things. So we invoke that power, that blessings, and then we see a new vision of ourselves, how we appear when we have overcome that, or when we are in the process of overcoming it. So a kind of a clear vision of ourselves, such as that I see myself as a disciplined and earnest, sincere sadhaka practitioner who have some challenges, such as laziness or fear or some kind of restless occupation, and a clear determination that by the grace of divine and gurus, I will overcome that. I will overcome all my challenges in life. Ideally, it's a written sankalpa which we can reflect on a daily basis, again and again. And then that sankalpa, which is the overarching sankalpa, can manifest in smaller ways in our life, such as now we can take that sankalpa and invoke that for the next few minutes. We will make a determined effort, invoking the higher energy and having a clear vision of where I want to be in my life or how I see myself, and manifesting it now through this practice for the next few minutes. Now we can just take a few deep breaths and exhale out, releasing any kind of restlessness, negativity, fear, or the thoughts of past or lingering thoughts for the future. Just try to feel that the vitality, the inner vitality of our beingness. And then we can just take a few minutes to just try to bring our mind focus on some japa or just mere practicing the breath. So we remain again and again focused, bringing our attention on either just watching the natural breathing or repeatedly on some japa, some mantra, trying to restrain the mind and the senses. One of the core building blocks for any sadhana, the shama and dhamma. with calm awareness and repeated reminder, bringing that mind again and again, and renewing our sankalpa every now and then. The sankalpa is the prop from where awareness, right awareness, arises. If the sankalpa is clear, then that awareness arises and somewhat autocorrects our thoughts, our vision, and our practice. For the next few minutes, we can just try to actively engage the mind in a contemplation. So first, just try to relax the mind, rest that mind, be aware, and yet be somewhat inwardly focused, not paying too much attention to what's happening around you, or allowing the thoughts to continue on the lines of thinking which take us outward. So as we looked at some of the main obstacles in our spiritual journey are these dualities of raga, dvesha, craving or grasping at things, people, situations, circumstances, and rejecting, pushing away, running away from things that is not pleasing. The greed factor which drives us to hold on, take on, and want things distracts us from that peace, from that inner joy, from that pursuit of our own realization of true nature. And that aversion factor in our life makes us run away from our duties, our tasks, even our spiritual sadhana. Like how Arjuna gives up the fight on the battlefield. Every day we tend to sometimes prematurely give up. Not just our duties, but our own spiritual sadhana we give up. We postpone it, or we feel that somehow that it's not giving us the immediate comfort that we need. So the Lord says, Icha Dvesha Samuttena, Dvandva Mohena Bharata. So where do these arise? How do these come about? Is it just the people or the things outside that causes Icha Dvesha, Raga Dvesha? No, the Lord says moha. There is this deeper thing of delusion, ignorance, a kind of laziness, you can say. We are deluded because we don't have the right wisdom. We don't have the right teachings. And we are not receptive to the teachings and teachers. Because there's a lot of immediate things we get occupied with. The practicality of life, or the seeming practicality of life, becomes more pressing for us. And so we never resolve this root of the problem. Where do these dualities come from? What is the root of duality? So we can just look at our own experience and see that how this consistent and continued occupation with people, world, situations come about in our life. When we start our day, sometimes we may feel quiet, peaceful. And then as we go about, we get caught up and we blame the outer situations of our life, not recognizing that this delusion, which is sitting right in us, in our hearts, this lack of awareness, this lack of vigilance, and this unwillingness to abide in the wisdom, trust that wisdom, hold on to that wisdom. And most importantly, unwillingness to abide in this beingness and get caught up in the doingness. So when we look closely into our own experience of life, we see that there is this unshakable, somewhat neutral awareness or the witness. We don't need to necessarily stop everything to become aware of that. Although every now and then it helps to do that, but it's not always having to sit, stop, but to change our vision from where do we see life unfolding. Does it unfold on that battlefield of our life? Is that Kurukshetra outside? Or does it arise with the arising of a thought, a feeling, an emotion, and then sucks the whole of us into that movement of energy outward? The Sankhya philosophers said us that Purusha is always peaceful. That pull of Prakriti comes and sweeps Purusha away. Similarly, the consciousness is pure, ever complacent, without any craving, without any aversions, just allowing things to be as it is. And yet, every now and then, we get sucked into the life and lose this awareness of our true nature. Once, now that we have this wisdom, this vision, we can try to just see right now for the next few minutes as you're established in this beingness. Can you just allow the thoughts, perceptions to come and go on its own without having to invest or get identified with them? Just try to see that for a few minutes, how you can hear things, smell things, and even allow thoughts, memories to come. But just watch it as though it's happening somewhere in the distance, somewhere where it doesn't touch you as the pure beingness. Every time we try to become aware and abide in this awareness, we realize that it's not always an easy process. Sometimes it is, sometimes it is not. But as the knowledge establishes, it's no longer that much of a battle. As the knowledge and that faith in that wisdom, faith in the divine being, and taking refuge in that Lord and the teachings, when we become like completely determined that this is the higher path, this is the reality, then naturally we are able to engage in the world but yet not get sucked into it. So the Lord says, Dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrataha. So the ones who are free from these dualities of aversion, craving, and the dualities of likes and dislikes. So the ones who are free from that have determinedly taken refuge in that beingness, in that supreme reality. That which is accessible every moment, right here, right now. So we can take a last minute just to express our deep devotion to that reality, to that supreme being, to our own inner abiding self. And sense of gratitude to all the forces in nature, the people, the circumstances that bring us to this wisdom, to this pointings of reality. And to shift our priorities on this sense of gratitude, that sense of devotion is a very useful practice. Okay, with that, we can say our closing prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.